welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I want to talk about like a really small detail that I think is actually really important though, and I think it's really helpful if you're out there and you're kind of actively buying CGC 9.8 comic books like I am. So what I want to talk about is how patient should you be when you're buying any specific CGC 9.8 comic book. So yeah, it might kind of seem like a weird small detail, but kind of bear with me here. So, you know, how patient should you be when you're buying CGC 9.8 comic books? It's really going to all relate to how many CGC 9.8s are on the census. So I want to, just to illustrate this point, I want to have two examples here on either end of the spectrum. So the first one, Amazing Spider-Man 361, first full appearance of Carnage, a great early 90s book. There's over 3,000 of these in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label on the census. So there's so many, there's a ton of them. So for this one, I think you can be extra patient because there's 3,000 of them out there and there's going to be new ones popping up on eBay every other day or whatever it might be. So you can be extra patient on a book like that and wait for a really fair price, basically. Like, it's all relative to price, right? Because I think for a book where there's tons of 9.8s, you could be really patient and wait for that maybe lower end of fair market value price. And, you know, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 361 with over, 3,000 of them is a great example. Like, DC-wise, Batman the Killing Joke with like 2,000 and something. That's a Batman book that you could be really patient on and try to get that one near the lower end of fair market value. There's absolutely no reason to kind of pay up or overpay for these high volume CGC 9.8s with a lot of 9.8s on the census. So those books you want to be really patient on and wait for great prices. Now the other end of the spectrum is kind of why I'm making this video, because my other example is a Batman 423. So Batman 423 has less than, last time I looked there was 98 9.8s, there might be 100 and something now, but less than 100 Batman 423s in the CGC 9.8. So, first Carnage, there's 3,000 and something. This book, there's less than 100. So for this book, you might not want to be as patient. You might want to like seize opportunities a little bit more. You might want to jump on, a book that, just pops up and maybe be a bit impulsive, or, you have to weigh that, maybe it's worth, since there's less than 100 of these in the CGC 9.8, maybe it's worth paying, an extra $25 to get it right now, like a $25 over fair market value to get it right now. So, yeah, those are the kind of scenarios that you have to consider when you're looking to buy a CGC 9.8 that, again, has like low volume CGC 9.8s, or what I call them, where there's like, 90 on the census, or 30 on the census, or, 20 or whatever it might be. So, like, from my personal experience, two books that really stick out for me. I bought a Green Lantern 141 in the CGC 9.8. It's the first appearance of Omega Man. And there's about 32 or 33 of those on the CGC census. And that was a book that, I really wanted a Green Lantern key, and that was one of that I was searching, and it, there being only 30 out there, it popped up on eBay, and I was really excited. It looked really good. And I ended up paying for that one. It was just over $300. I think it was like $309.99. And, for me, I could have been a little more patient there, and I think, ideally, if you get super lucky with that book, maybe you get that book for like $275, $260. But you know what, for me, there being only 30 on the census, I thought, hey, you know what, I'm going to seize this opportunity. I'm not going to be extremely patient here because, there's only 30 here. So realistically, I'm not going to see these popping up on eBay every week like a new one. Like some of these books with thousands and thousands in the CGC 9.8. So another one that comes to mind is a Detective Comics 523. So this is the first cameo of Killer Croc, a cover that I've loved from when I was a kid. I wanted this in the 9.8 when I started collecting. That's another one I purchased. I saw that one go, Detective Comics 523 in the CGC 9.8 for like $225, $230. But I saw a really nice one pop up, and for this one, there's only like 25 on the census for this one. So I saw one of these pop up, and I ended up paying, I think it was like $280 or $285. Really nice looking one, perfectly centered, great colors. But yeah, for that one, I had to weigh those options. Like, hey, is this going to be worth, maybe paying $40 or $50 above sort of a fair market value to kind of get this one of 21 of a 25 CGC 9.8. In that case, for the Detective Comics 523, it was. So, yeah, you know what? With those examples, I hope you kind of get the gist of, what I'm trying to get across here, because, I always preach on the channel, yeah, you want to be patient, and, you want to know the fair market value and be really patient and try and get your comic at the fair market value. But for these really rare 9.8s, it's all relative. For these really rare 9.8s, you might not want to be as patient, and you might want to kind of seize opportunities. And then these really well-known key issues where there's like 2,000 or 3,000 on the census, you can be really patient with those. There's going to be more popping up on eBay, and you can look to try to get those books closer to fair market value. Yeah, no reason to overpay for a book when there's like 2,000 or 3,000 of them in the CGC 9.8 on the census. Yeah, just be patient and make sure you get a fair value for those kind of 9.8s. Okay, just a short video today. If you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8 and hit the bell to get all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter too as well. All the links in the description below for that. But yeah, just a really quick point, but I think a really important one that, when you think about it, it's been helpful for me, because I've been really happy that I've seized certain opportunities in really rare 9.8s rather than kind of being patient and trying to get just the best deal every time. So yeah, you definitely kind of want to weigh those options. But thanks so much for watching today. Thanks for all the support from the whole team out there. Message me on Instagram if you have any questions about anything, and I'll see you on the next video.